The Lives of the Saints by Father Alban Butler, January 14th, Blessed Odoric of Pordenone. It is difficult to find in all secular literature a more adventurous life than that of the Franciscan friar Odorico of Pordenone. He was a native of Friuli, and it is said that his family name was Mattiusi. Around the year 1300, when he was 15 years old, he took the habit of St. Francis in Udine, and his biographies proclaim the fervor with which he gave himself to prayer, poverty, and penance. Soon after, Odorico felt called by God to solitude and obtained permission to lead an eremitical life in a remote cell. We do not know how long this close communion with God lasted, but it seems that he felt a new call to return to Udine and practice apostolic ministries in the surrounding area. His preaching was very successful, and crowds came from far and wide to hear him. But around 1317, when he was a little over 30 years old, he felt a different inspiration, and it is difficult to determine what part the simple spirit of adventure and the apostolic desire to extend the kingdom of God and save souls played in his later life. We will probably be right in thinking that the two elements were mixed. It is not easy to give precise dates, but according to Yule and Cordier, Odorico arrived in western India shortly after 1321, lived in northern China from 1322 to 1328, and certainly died in Udine, among his brothers, in January 1331. As far as the route of his travels is concerned, we are better informed. His first objective was Constantinople, whence he went on to Trebizond, Erzurum, Tabriz, and Sultania. In many of these cities there were houses of his order, and the Blessed probably stopped quite a long time in each, so that this first part of his journey must have lasted about 3 years. From Sultania, he made his way by detours to Baghdad and Hormuz at the entrance to the Persian Gulf, where he embarked for Salsette. At Tana, or perhaps Surat, he gathered the remains of 4 of his brothers who had recently been martyred there in 1321 and took them with him on his journey to the east. He went to Malabar and Ceylon, and then stopped, probably for some time, at the shrine of St. Thomas at Mailpur, near present-day Madras. There he embarked for Sumatra and Java, and may also have visited eastern and southern Borneo. He then went on to China. From Canton he traveled to the great ports of the Fukien. From Fuchao he continued through the mountains to Hangzhou, then Qinsai, the largest city in the world, and Nanking. Crossing the Great Canal at Yangzhou, he made his way to Kanbalik, or Peking, where he stayed 3 years in one of the churches founded by another heroic Franciscan missionary, Archbishop John of Montecorvino, then a very old man. From there, Odorico returned to Italy via Shensi and Lhasa, the capital of Tibet, but we do not know the itinerary he followed until he reached his province again. It is interesting to note that at least during the last part of his long travels, Odoric had as his companion a certain brother Jacob, an Irish friar of his order. We know this thanks to a document preserved in the archives of Udine, according to which, after the death of his traveling companion, Brother Jacob received 2 marks for the love of God and of the blessed brother Odorico. The account of Odorico's travels, which unfortunately was not written during his journeys, but dictated later to one of his brothers, does not speak practically of his missionary works. This makes it difficult to determine to what extent the later legends about the success of his preaching deserve credit. The chronicler Lucas Wadding states that he converted and baptized 2,000 Saracens, but he does not explain where he takes this information from. It is also said that Odorico returned from China to Europe in search of missionaries for the Far East, but that St. Francis appeared to him in Pisa and ordered him to return to Udine, explaining that he himself would take care of those remote missions. On his deathbed, the worn-out missionary declared that God had let him know that his sins were forgiven, but that he nevertheless wished to obtain the keys of the Church as a humble child and receive the sacraments. Odorico died on January 14, 1331. It is said that he worked many miracles after his death. In one of them, the brother intervened again, since a certain Franciscan preacher and doctor of theology in Venice, and suffering from a painful throat disease, begged Brother Jacob to entrust him to his former traveling companion, and he was cured at once. The cult of Odorico was approved in 1775.